Ladies and gentlemen, you know what it is. Your boy Hip Hop Mike in the building with a special guest who has been, going crazy for lack of better terms. Super creative, pretty inspirational, I gotta say. And when the kid Edwards was on this show a few weeks ago, I was like, who do you mess with? What kind of artists are you paying attention to? And you, sir, were at the very top of his list. Kota The Friend is in the building. What's up?
What's up, man? Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming through. You said it took literally 10 minutes to get here.
Yeah, just hopped in a lift. Yeah.
So you grew up, I don't know how old you are, but did you grow up in Brooklyn or the gentrified Brooklyn?
I grew up in Brooklyn. I think I grew up in the middle, like when it was about to be, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Like, the contrast between what it is now and what it was, when I was growing up, completely different. You know what I mean? But, it is what it is, bro.
Listen, I think things do have to evolve. I don't know about abruptly changing, but I always say I'm 29 now, right? I was kind of like that first generation. It's like, I grew up without cell phones, but like my parents put a phone in my hand by the time I was like 14, 15. And to understand both sides of it, I think gave me a different perspective on just the world. So to be a creative from Brooklyn, by way of gentrified Brooklyn, what kind of inspired you to get into music, and how has that evolved over the years?
Brooklyn, it's always a hub for artistry, but just growing up and watching like BET and being from New York and like, 106 in Park and the Jay-Z and Nas and Biggie's and Pacs, and it's just like you have kind of no choice but to get into music, you know what I mean? But to feel it. Everybody at least tries to write a rhyme once, you know what I mean?
Except me.
I've always, one time?
I've known better. Like, maybe in the car I'll say something that I'm like, but I've never once been like, I could rap.
Nah, but you try real quick. You know what I mean?
More Dr. Seuss than Jay-Z though, for sure.
Still something.
So that's fire. You started kind of just dabbling in it, or?
Yeah, when we were real young, we used to just play around and write rhymes, and I would try to like mimic Jay-Z's cadence and his flow and what he was saying, and try to like just switch out words for what,
Okay.
I would just take words that he said, take them out, rhyme it with something that sounded like that, and just try to like practice. And then we just kind of kept moving with that. Then I started learning instruments, and then I went to school, and then I met other people that were into it, and I started producing. And
you moving fast, like to get into instruments. Again, like you said, everybody always tries to rap, but to really make music and to be interested in instruments at all, what was that about?
My school had a music program, and my mother insisted that I be in it, and boom, and so I was in it. You know what I mean? That was pretty much it.
What instrument was it?
I played the trumpet.
Okay.
Yeah. And
not an easy instrument.
Nah, it's not. It's actually, I think it's one of the easier ones.
Yeah?
Yeah. I used to watch like the clarinet and saxophone players and what they had to do, and then the violin players, and I was like, nah, y'all wildin'. But trumpet it has 3 buttons, so it's pretty simple.
It's a lot of breath control.
Yeah, that's it. Breath control and like the way you gotta position your lips in the right way to make it work.
So the early steps in music were actually pretty musical. It wasn't just like I was a poet and now I rap.
Nah. I do it. I learned trumpet, and I excelled at that. I went to like, art schools and programs and all that. I did like Manhattan School of Music program. Then I went to high school for it. Boom. That's where I learned like guitar and keyboard, and I just really took it to the next level. I went to college.
Okay.
I got a scholarship. Boom. I tried to. That's when I really got into production.
Right.
And I was like, I'm gonna put everything together to create something bigger. You know what I mean? And I met a few people, and they were rapping, and they were getting on the beats. And at the time, I wasn't even rapping like that. And then
what was like in creating? You said bringing it all together and really having a vision. What was the vision for that? Like, were you trying to approach this as like, I don't like to say what kind of artist, but like, were you more on your I'm gonna do what I know sounds great, or were you trying to fit into like what you thought might have hit with the college kids you were around?
Honestly, I was just talking about my experience, which was like smoking weed and and feeling good and trying to get away from bad things and girls. You know what I mean? Like that was it.
A lot of people don't find the success that you found through just approaching things in such a genuine way, and I think you not necessarily having the agenda really speaks to how quality this music now that we're getting really is.
Yeah.
So you get this scholarship. You're in college. You put out like a tape or.
Yeah, I put out a few tapes. I was with a group. We called ourselves Nappy Head.
Okay.
And I mean, the irony is that there was a white kid in the group.
Like, did he have nappy hair?
Nah, he didn't. But it was just fun. We were just really having fun. There was no agenda. There was nothing we were trying to do. We were just having fun and trying to get fans and do shows and just being college kids. You know what I mean? Nothing really crazy.
Did anything formulate from that? Like, did you have any successful shows, or did people reach out maybe on a bigger scale that we're seeing what you were doing?
Nah, not really.
Okay.
Not really. Like, we didn't really have any crazy success. We were making good music though, you know?
All right.
People on campus were messing with it, and like, remember back, they had those, like, you would like get a little link. And you would download,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
With, like, Mega Share and things like that. So we would use that to put our music out. You know what I mean? We would just put our music out in that way. Just
That's crazy. They had to download it.
Yeah, people would just download it, and we would see how many downloads we got. We used to get like thousands of downloads just from people like in our school.
That's crazy. Was there any type of streaming? Was this like LimeWire days or?
This is like post LimeWire, but pre like Spotify.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
So you were like, it was like sell CDs or.
Yeah.
And like y'all were in school where it was like you weren't in position to be like, we're gonna print up 100 CDs and send them to Target.
Exactly. Yeah.
Were you on MySpace at that time? Because I feel like that might have been MySpace days.
It was around that time, like right after though. You know, it was more like Facebook.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Interesting time for music.
Yeah, very.
Labels were still trying to figure out how to capitalize off of like the new generation that had no idea what was going on.
Wow, it's a wild time. It's a wild time.
But it's perfect because at least at that point, I think it was still focused on creativity. It wasn't like it hadn't transitioned to marketing.
True.
So at what point now? You graduated college? No. Okay. I dropped out of college 3 times. So what made you leave college, and what was the steps from there musically?
I mean, I only did a semester in school.
You were in and out.
I was in and out. Like I was.
You got all that done in a semester?
yeah. But I guess I really knew I wanted to be somewhere else. I didn't want to be in school. You know what I mean? It wasn't. I realized I've been in school my whole life. I was like, I'm done. You know what I mean? I want to do something real.
Alright.
It's not real. I'm like learning little things in the piano class, and I'm like, bro, this is come on, son. Like, why am I taking my time here when I could be like go crazy outside?
Let no swag blossom.
Yeah. And so I did that, and I got into like visuals, and I started shooting videos, and like, I got into cameras, and once I got into cameras, it was like a whole different, education. You know what I mean? I was like, cool. I learned that whole thing. And
you were self-teaching on YouTube or something?
On YouTube and just learning, through experience, learning about equipment, and just going hard. I'll be out there shooting every day, like rain or shine, cold, snow, whatever. I was shooting something, even if it wasn't for money. I was just shooting just to
you loved it.
Yeah, just because I wanted to learn more, and that ended up being like catapulting me. Like those skills ended up catapulting me into like what I'm doing now.
Well, in what way? You were applying these to your own stuff, or did somebody come along that you shot for that was like, you make really great music too? Like,
oh nah, I just started shooting my own videos.
Okay.
Like every video that I have up, like today I shot.
It's your own shit. That's wild, man.
So,
who recognized it because at this point you're doing some pretty major things, man. Not just on your own, but you're booked on some big shit. What was the turning point? Because I know at some point there has to be a relationship or a friend that was made that kind of knew how to navigate the industry businessy part of this.
Mm-hmm. Well,
unless you went on YouTube and learned that and you managing yourself and everything.
I was managing myself, and I had my cousin. At first, my cousin who was also a publicist. He was like helping me get on blogs and stuff like at the beginning, but if anybody knows, being on blogs doesn't equal the money in your pocket.
Yeah.
So like that was where we were going at first. It was like I would be on this site and XXL and boom, but I was still like hungry. You know what I mean? And so I realized that I had to come up with a way to like capitalize on this music, you know, and really get my name out there, and really be like, yo, this is, you know, get fans. I had to get real people involved in what this is, and not just, you know, the industry people who aren't really gonna push me to where I need to be unless I'm on a label, unless whatever.
You need the mega share downloads to turn
Exactly.
into show tickets.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
I
talking
feel you.
So,
You're doing it right, man.
yeah. So that's when I just started doing videos. That I would just I would shoot a video every week. Like I would probably shoot like 5 videos in a week, and I would drop them. I would drop one every week. You know what I'm saying? And so I would stack them up, and then I would release them, and then I would just go. Like I didn't care. Sometimes they did really good. Sometimes they didn't do so good. But it was just constantly staying on top of it, no matter what the result was. You know. And then I started selling out shows. You know what I mean? Like literally maybe 4 or 5 months.
Were you planning these shows too?
Actually, there's a company called Sean Haley Presents.
Okay.
In Los Angeles, and I was always doing shows with them. I would always like open shows. You know how the pay for play.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You were doing all that.
I was doing pay for play because it was like, yo, I know I could sell tickets. You know, even though people didn't believe in it. You know, people didn't believe me that I could sell tickets.
No,
so
you made it a point to sell tickets.
So I made it a point. I was like, cool, I'll do the pay for play joint. And my biggest fan base was in Los Angeles, so I hit him up. I was like, yo, I'll just open for whoever y'all got headlining. I'll open for whoever. So I took a 20-minute set at opening for some dude. I paid the bread, paid for my flight, everything. Paid for my hotel.
I just want to stop you real quick before you say more, and I gotta look right at the camera for this, because for artists that are paying attention, and a lot of the artists I think that still mess with me post Hot 97 realize it's like, I tell artists this all the time, you know, because I've learned it not through music but through interviews, that I might do 10 interviews with people that I don't get the clicks, it doesn't draw any industry attention, but one day there is the person that comes along that's like you, that ends up being this big star at some point, and you know, over time maybe the masses will pay attention to that interview and be like, you sat with the baby. And I'm like, do you realize that he became that by doing exactly what you did with maybe a bigger team, which I think you're gonna see in the long run, you keeping it tight is exactly what's gonna pay off, and which seems to already be paying off. But for artists that are paying attention, like, rewind this interview and watch this part again, because I'm telling you right now, what you're saying is really the keys to being successful and having a career, not just a moment, a career. But continue, man. I'm sorry. I just have to make it a point.
That's real. That's real, because this was a big moment, you know, once I started doing that, because that's when people realized that it was gonna keep going. You know, it wasn't a thing that was
coming.
Yeah, that was, people realized, yo, this is happening. It's not just, you know, it's not just a thing that's gonna be here and go away. Like, he's not gonna stop.
Well, you're taking accountability too, because a lot of artists too, I tell them all the time. Like, I host a lot of showcases that are paid for play, and believe me, I don't make a lot of money. The promoters a lot of times make money, but I tell artists, and the promoters hate me for it, but I'm like, if you're paying to perform, at least follow up with a visual, at least make sure that you're getting the tickets sold and not just paying for the tickets and then putting them in your pocket. Put that work in, because although it's not like upfront value, that long-term value being built in over and over and over again is what creates this reputation as somebody who's worth working with. I mean, for lack of better words, it's like, you know, not everybody is worth working with because they don't give it that energy, and that energy is really what propels you to the space that you're about to tell us you're getting into now.
Yeah, very point blank, you gotta sell tickets, you know? And I knew that, and I was like, you know, I'm just gonna blow these tickets out. I don't care. Like, really, you gotta just humble yourself. It doesn't matter if you know you can sell 500 tickets. If people don't believe you can sell 500, then you gotta do what you gotta do to prove to everybody, and then you have the leverage, you know what I mean? So they put me in this 20-minute slide. I paid, boom, I got to LA, sleeping on my friend's couch, you know what I mean? And yeah, I ended up selling like twice as much tickets as the headliner, you know what I mean? But I'm the opener, you know? So I get my 20 minutes and I'm out, and everybody dips with me, you know what I'm saying? So like, so that happened, and then after that, the company was like, yo, this dude is, you know, how did he do that? Meanwhile, like months before, they weren't even hitting me back when I was telling them, yo, I could do my own headline in LA, you know, like mess with me. And so
show and prove, man.
Yeah, you gotta show and prove. And so after that, they gave me a headline in New York, and then we sold that out. Then they gave me a headline in Oakland and LA. They gave me a headline in Oakland and LA. I did an hour in both, and we crushed those. We sold out LA even more tickets that time.
And then how were you promoting this? Is this all
Instagram?
Oh,
Instagram.
All right.
and after that, the dude who owns the company, Sean Haley, he brought me up to the office. He was like, yo, I gotta meet with this dude. So he meets with me, and then he tells me he wants to manage me.
All right.
And so that's where I started getting like big shows. You know what I mean? And I started doing like tours, and I started like.
So you took this management agreement.
Yeah, I took it. Yeah.
And he's well connected clearly when it comes to getting venues and shows, which is where you're making the money anyway.
Exactly. So we did that, and ever since then, that's when I started getting like legitimate shows, and I opened for Lupe, and you know we did a lot of traveling, and we just went on a crazy tour in the States and in Europe, and so that's just how that was the show side, and on like the music side, it was just keep on going, like nothing is happening for you. Act like it was the beginning. Act like you were just exactly like you were doing pay for play, you know. It's like it was always about promoting. If I drop a video, I promote it. I hit up this person, pay this person. You know, if you gotta pay somebody to post your joint, it's like that's what labels are doing. So
just leverage where the opportunity is.
Yeah, you should be doing it for yourself.
And not for nothing, I think to do it for yourself is almost more beneficial than when a label does it, because they might have a girl that's famous for makeup post a video that has nothing to do with, you know, so to be able to kind of be involved to the point where you know who's going to promote what in the way that complements your vision, I think is essential also.
Yeah, nah.
How were you creating on the road? I mean, when you were running around, like how is that? Like, where do you find the balance in that?
I'm not good at that. Like, I'm not good at making music on the road. Not even gonna lie. Like, so a lot of people do it. You know, they live on the road, and so they make music on the road.
A lot of people don't put the effort into music that you put in.
So, like, when I'm making music, I really need space. Like, and I don't have that on the road. Like, my homies, like, everybody has a road, on the road, but like, it's just a lot going on. And when I'm making music, I really need to be by myself, in my brain, seeing what's going on up there, you know what I mean? Rather than around a whole bunch of noise. And I'm not a studio person, you know?
Okay.
So it's like it's not like I could just hop into a studio and like get going. Like I make music in my crib, you know?
Really?
Yeah.
You have like an interface and just sauce it up yourself. Crazy.
Yeah. So I got like a makeshift booth in the crib, and I gotta make it there. Bro. I can't make. I'm sorry. Maybe if I practice going to studios, I would be able to do it.
I'll say
because
this.
I'm so used to it.
I think as you become more and more successful, you know, I mean, for lack of better terms, you know, that money really does help in some ways. And, you know, when you're traveling on a bus versus being on planes and being able to set these things up in a hotel, get space where you're comfortable with, you know, like, you could really mess around. If you have money, you could go out to the mountains and set up something, you know? So it's...
Nah, I already have, actually.
Okay.
I'm already doing that. I'm in the process of doing that right now. Not necessarily the mountains, not yet. But I got a spot in Pennsylvania. It's like right by a nice river, chill. It's not like the Poconos, though. It's not like mountains. But it's dope. And it's out of the way. And I can't wait to finish the studio like out there, right?
It's incredible, man. The patience and persistence is paying off one day at a time.
Yo, break by break.
Are there any struggles in this for you? Is there anything that you would say is like drives you crazy and ever makes you feel like you're slowing down?
My personal life.
Okay. Me too.
I think you know what it is, bro. It's like it's kind of difficult to balance. Like when you have an emotional career, like I feel like music is such a spiritual thing, you know.
Yeah.
And like when you have so many things in your life that are conflicting with you, you know, and messing with your brain, it's hard to just excel when what you have to do is so it has to do with how you feel, and you know, and it's not like if I was just taking phone calls and taking meetings all day, I'd be chilling. You know what I mean? I'd be like,
it would stress you out too. You'd be surprised.
I mean, for me personally, everybody's different. You know what I mean? Everybody's different. For me personally, I could deal with that stuff like If I'm not making the music, the thing is when I sit down and make the music, bro, I gotta be 100% present. I gotta have the incense lit the right way.
It's
I gotta have
meditating.
So it's like a lot that goes into it for me. It's a very like spiritual like situation for me. So it takes a lot of energy and a lot of attention, you know. But when I'm just doing, clerical stuff and sending emails, I enjoy that. I enjoy it. It's like relaxation for me. You know what I mean?
I love it. Like I definitely don't make music, but just in real life, I try and wake up a little earlier now, just to create the frame of mind that's gonna propel me through the day in like a peaceful, kind of like not frustrated manner. And it's tough, and especially, I mean, just being in New York and being a creative and evolving the way you are, it's like, to not be 10 steps ahead and be like, I want to be in the mountains now, but understand that like there is a patience aspect. It's tricky.
Yeah, and on top of that, it's like it's not only like I gotta just focus on music. I have to focus on, while I'm making a song, I'm thinking about the video. I'm thinking about the marketing. I'm thinking about
Everything.
Yeah, I'm thinking about how Instagram is changing. You know what I mean? And like TikTok is about to be the wave, and like it's just like what's going. There's so many things you have to think about when you're just making music, especially like I wasn't gonna make it if I didn't have my hand in everything going on around me. I wasn't gonna be it. Like
a lot of people don't. Like a lot of people, they look again for just that one moment, and then the 10 people around them are the ones that have spent maybe their time making it happen, but then they profit from it, and it is at that energy draining sense of the artist, and a lot of them can't keep up with it because they're not prepared to keep up with it. It's a lot. Like, and I mean, again, you do it to a level that's even beyond what you probably would have to. Like, I'm sure at this point you could task out some of these things, but the fact that you're conscious enough to be like, I want to take control of this because I know I'm going to do it right and I don't want to waste time.
Yeah, exactly.
It's very admirable, bro.
That's really it. I don't want to waste time, because time is like the most precious thing, So and wasting it, it's like, it's a tragedy. So I try to make sure everything is done the right way, and be patient with everything, and like calm down. Don't make crazy decisions right away. Like, people come to me with opportunities all the time. I'm like, whoa, slow. Because at the end of it, like, it's like things will come at you. People don't think about the work that you gotta put in.
Yeah.
It's like you can get a crazy opportunity. If I told you the opportunity that I be getting, you'd probably be like, bruh.
I'm sure.
But
I you'd be surprised who you're talking to. I'd be like, nah, you're so super smart for turning that down.
Yeah, true. So like we really have to really think about every step. People I work with be so excited, like, bro, you gotta take this. But I'm like, bro, I got a kid. I got, they asking me to be away for 2 months.
You understand?
I'm trying to work on my album.
Where writing for Drake might not be the thing that you want to do.
Exactly. It's not right now.
Not specifically. I'm not. Don't come for him, OVO. I said that. He didn't say anything.
I didn't say anything. But yeah, it's just like timing is everything. It's like sometimes it's the right time and it's just perfect. It's like, yo, this opportunity could not have come at a better time. Everything makes sense, and that's a beautiful moment right there.
Straight up.
Then you could really sit down and be like, wow, I really caught one. I really caught a break, But you really, because I have so much stuff going on, like, and so much to do, the album, and then I'm trying to do I'm trying to put on my own festivals, and I'm trying to start a traveling showcase, but I've been working on it for 10 years, I'm trying to bring it back, because I know these things are going to be powerful for the brand and for, to carry on my legacy, So I gotta think about that before I think about, hopping on a crazy tour,
Straight up.
And
balance. You're doing it right, man. Like, I mean, I'll say this much. I'm a kid that I came into this. I was 11 selling mixtapes. I went to a group home for a minute, linked with Peter Rosenberg through MySpace, started sneaking backstage at shows as a barber, made friends, and like, working with Rosenberg, I've seen people that come and go that have been big artists, but I've also seen like Tyler the Creator from day one, Post Malone from day one, and these are the guys that are really here to stay, that are icons in their own rights, and I feel like you're right along those same kind of ambitions, and I don't say that lightly, bro. Like, for real, I call people out on their shit. I'm kind of known for it at this point, so like, for real, keep doing what you're doing, and I'm very, very thankful that I got this quality of an interview from you, because I know people gonna be Googling a year, 2 years from now, and be like, God damn, this is crazy. So, you know,
thank you for having me, bro. For real.
I appreciate it. Real quick, because obviously the point of a lot of interviews is also to promote what you're doing. Tell us a little bit about the festival that you're working on. Tell us about some of the shows that you have coming up and the music that people could expect.
That's true, man. Everything runs real deep. The festival that I'm working on is called Flight Night. It's like I was doing it when I was in high school. I was pretty much just
You said 10 years. I was like, you was literally
a lot of years
15, 10 years ago.
Exactly. So a lot of this stuff is 10 years in the making, and I have a company called Flight Boys, which I had back then, and what we did was we made clothes and we just popped up at different venues. Like, yo, can you give us the stage for the night? And I pretty much just got all my homies on stage. You know what I mean? If you rap, if you sang, whatever you did, you pull up, you get on stage, you get a little 15-minute set, and we were selling tickets, and we were just kids, you know. And I haven't done it in a while, but it was legendary. You know what I mean? It was a legendary vibe because like Capital Steez used to perform at them in the pro era. But there were a lot of people.
What high school do you go to, by the way?
I went to Brooklyn High School of Arts.
Okay.
Yeah,
I went to BCA. I don't know, and I know Joey and them from Murrow.
Oh yeah, they went to Murrow. Yeah. And a lot of talent came out of that school too.
Straight up.
But it was around that era, like right after we were doing that.
I went to school underachievers with
okay.
He's the dashing.
That's crazy. That's crazy. But yeah, it was a whole network. Everything was going crazy. And this is actually a crazy story of Joey rapping outside of one of my events. Outside of like mad long time ago. I didn't even know him at the time. You know what I mean? But it was just everybody was connecting, and a lot of people came out of that and became really popular. And so my plan is to bring that back, you know, because it was so beautiful. And back then we were doing like 100 people, 200 people. But the first one I'm bringing back is actually in Los Angeles, and we already sold like 600 tickets. You know what I mean? So, and we're gonna do 1,000, and that's just the first one. And then the one in New York, I wanted to be like 2,000 cap. You know what I mean? And like the same concept where it's like a whole bunch of artists that's trying to get their name out there, but at the same time they're putting in the work.
Yeah,
they're putting in the time.
It's a major key.
Yeah, and they work, and it's like, yo, I'm here. This is what I do. This is not my side thing.
How do you figure that out? Because I'd say this: I got 1,000 artists hitting me a day, and it's very hard to decipher who's putting in the work and who's like. I mean, I go off, I guess, in energy. Like, there's times I don't even listen to music. I could just look at your page and see where your head's at. But how do you go about deciding who's going to be on this as being the guy who's really... I mean, it went from 100 people, now you got to make 600, 1,000, 2,000 happy.
Yeah. I think like social media is a big thing when you don't know, when you aren't really tapped in. Okay. You know? And in places like LA, I'm not really tapped in like that, you know? Wherever in New York, I'm tapped in. Yeah, I know what's what. I know who's been doing what for how long. I know everybody out here, like, you know, and they're aware of me, even if they may not be big fans. It's like, you know, so it's like I see what's happening. But I think when I go on somebody's like Instagram or something, if I don't see your music on your gram, you must not be, you know.
I feel you.
You must not be doing it.
SoundCloud link, all that.
Something.
I feel you.
Like I gotta see something that shows that, you know, you trying to be out here. You know, you want people to know that you make music and everything. But it's like we really gotta dig. I've been asking my friends like, yo, you know anybody? You know anybody in Oakland? Because what I'm trying to do is bring it to every city and have people from that city come open. Yeah,
but actual imprints in the city, not just random.
Exactly. So instead of me just doing a random tour and bringing an opener with me around the country or around the world or whatever, I want to, wherever I'm at, like, we're going to bring it internationally too. We're going to do like Paris and London. And when we're in London, we're going to get London artists. You know what I mean? When we're in Paris, we're going to get Parisian artists. And that's really, the whole vibe is to just showcase what's going on in that city, you know? So people could be tapped in, you know, to what's happening. Because I think the one thing about New York is that, like, I've been buzzing for a minute, but
I know the other side of it, and I'll say this much, and it's a big part of why I'm not at Hot 97 anymore, why I was so sad and miserable there, was I think a lot of times the people who are influencing things in New York, I'll put it that way, they're looking for things that are selfish. I mean, plain and simple, it's like, who's going to fill up this club, who's going to spend the money on bottles, and a lot of times artists like yourself, they don't get embraced by the city, and I say Joey Badass, ASAP Rocky, there are a lot of kids that aren't embraced because they're not the kind to be in the club, they're not the kind to be worried about stroking egos, but more so just want to do something special. And the places that embrace that, unfortunately, are LA, Atlanta,
It's true.
You know, which is a shame.
I want to change that, though.
Me too.
We can do it together, you feel me?
Well, no cap, I was going to say the only thing I don't like about you is the fact that you have management already and that this is all squared away, because I would have loved to meet at like 17 years old and like get these moves, but I
can still do something, you know what I'm saying? But,
straight up.
But yeah, it's like, even when you mention like Joey and ASAP, it's like they got strong connections with each other, you know?
Yeah.
And when they remember back in the day when they created East Coast, and they still working with that.
Straight
fire.
up.
It's a crazy imprint for New York City, you know? And it definitely needs to have a bigger presence in New York, you know? But like, I feel like a lot of times out here it's favoritism, and you know, and
it definitely
who's your friends and stuff like that. So like, I think we need to move away from that. Like, yo, this is my boy, he's getting on the stage. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like we need to really think, if we really want to work as a city, like Chicago is, like LA is, we need to be like, yo, these 5 dudes, they really next up. You know, they really been putting in the work, and everybody sees it. The world already sees it. It's like, there's no reason why I should be selling out shows all over the world, and then at home I can't even get an up. You know what I mean? So
I believe me, I know, man. Like, and like I said, I think I was in the heart of it for a minute, where it's like, it has to be about the music and the good energy, because I mean, I say it is, rest in peace Pop Smoke. We create situations like this at this point, embracing gangs before